Nashville, raising Nashville, raising Nashville, raising Nashville.
Welcome to Raising Nashville. I'm Bucky.
Juice box.
Oh boy.
And yes, we are still in/outside. We are doing our jobs. We're staying home.
We're sheltered in place.
We are officially sheltered in place. I think when we did that outbreak episode, that was recorded on March 22nd, and I remember saying that it was just a suggestion at that point that happened that day.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
like half the nation shut down.
Yep. A lot of things changed in that 2 week span.
No doubt.
It did, and we expected it to. I don't think it changed as much as the prior 2 weeks to that. That was when shit hit the fan, but we are doing our part. So, brought to you this week, Raising Nashville, we are officially outside. And
We are.
We are sitting at least 6 feet away from each other.
I'm about 12 feet away from you.
Yeah. I was about to make that same joke,
too
you
late.
asshole.
It's all right.
We still want to record these episodes, plus this is a ability. We all live in the same neighborhood, so we're not driving far. We're not causing a ruckus here. I could have driven my lawnmower over here if I wanted to.
That would have caused a ruckus.
It's going to cause a little bit of noise. Everybody's inside, so what they're doing is, like, I don't know if you're doing this like me, but I'm watching every one of my neighbors like it was the Burbs. Like, I mean, I'm literally it's to the point where I'm about to get on my roof and just perch there all day.
Do you have binoculars?
I don't, but I thought
Oh,
about
I
that a
do.
couple days ago.
I do, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So you can really get inside their living rooms.
I know. No, I don't care what my neighbors are doing. I don't. That's not entertaining for me.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like I've reached the end of the television and internet at this point.
I got you. Okay. Well, teach
So-
his own.
It is. So with that being said, we want to continue bringing you these episodes through this terrible time we're going through. And this week, we want to bring up another subject about probably a terrible time that parents will go through.
Yeah, we're jumping back into a parenting topic this week.
Absolutely, because kids are still being born.
And parenting is still going on.
Yeah,
And it's intensified.
It's more difficult than ever.
Correct.
no shit, you guys. I was thinking about it. Like, it's weird to say, but like this past 3 weeks, I guess, month,
Yeah, month.
I've spent more time with my kid like since that first month that he was born, probably.
Ever.
Like,
Ever.
that was the
Absolutely.
only time that I was around him every day nonstop. Like, now I'm just around him every day nonstop. And it's awesome, but at the same time, we're both really learning how to push each other's buttons.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
I was gonna
I woke up this morning and my daughter was just staring at me, holding my hand, like standing beside the bed, just holding my hand, staring at me. I was like, everything okay?
I don't know if that's cute or creepy.
It's both.
So let's just go ahead and title the episode. It's called Everybody Poops.
Because they do, y'all.
And the tagline for this episode is Raising Nashville, a dad's perspective on potty training.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
The Raising Nashville
Do
dad's
it in your
perspective.
movie voice.
Everybody poops. Raising Nashville dad's perspective on potty training.
That was great, man. I
Yeah.
feel like you actually practiced that
Yeah.
beforehand.
I didn't. Normally, I can't stop laughing through those, but
Right.
that one's not funny because this subject is not funny. It is.
I think it's hilarious.
You might, but potty training is one of the hardest things logistically a parent will have to do in the raising of their child.
I think you're blowing it out of proportion.
That is absolutely not true. Let's preface this for our listenership out there. Currently, old boy has a 5-year-old daughter, and she is officially through potty training.
Yep.
Like, been through it for
Yeah.
years.
Yep, started when she was 2 and done.
Done. And my kid is 2.5. He's about to be 3 in May. And he is currently about 2 months into potty training. And I will touch on that later in the episode. But it's been a ride for us. And then
Our kid is, 1.5 years old, and we are not to that subject yet, really. Like, we're just now, we've introduced the kid's toilet into the bathroom, so it's like he's aware of it. But that's the first step that we've
Sure.
taken. We're not really.
It's a good
that-
step, though.
I'm gonna have to make a note of that because I definitely want to touch on like ages and things like that when we get
Right.
back into it. But as we do here at Raising Nashville Podcast, whether you like it or not, I know we do, and it's not always the most interesting, but we like to dive into the history of everything that we do a subject on.
Oh, this is gonna be rich.
Yeah, some of them date way back. Some histories on subjects that we covered date back like 10 years or 20 years. But
Learn us something, Bucky.
I do. You love it when I learn you something. So, potty training. Let's take it all the way back to the year 1577 in ancient Rome. They are.
What? This is a lot
Right,
differently than I thought it was going.
They didn't
to.
have potty training before the Romans.
No, they created the first ever known children's toilet, 1577, ancient Rome. There's a drawn depiction of this toilet on the internet that you can find, and it was like a crown.
Text me that image. I don't want to come over and look at it. Do you have it?
I do have it.
Okay, I'll look at it later.
I'll text you that. So they create the children's toilet. So obviously they're potty training in 1577. We're going to go through kind of a timeline of things that helped with potty training, the reason that the years have extended on the expectations of age. We're going to go through a few things, but it really shapes it history-wise, right? So in the late 18th century, parenting transitioned from the use of leaves or linens to the use of cloth diapers.
Hold the fuck up. Just back up. Leaves.
Yeah.
Leaves or linen.
Leaves or linens. They're probably those elephant ear leaves.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking. That's not that surprising. Like,
I mean-
think about it. Like, you're in a pinch. What are you going to use? A
Use
leaf is
l-
a leaf is the original disposable diaper.
I've
doubt,
used
no
leaves
doubt.
in the woods before.
I have. Okay, I'm just saying you went leaves or linens.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Okay.
I'm just reading facts here.
But you're saying they had toilets 300 years before that.
Yes, but yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to grasp.
It wasn't
I
a
like
toilet
where
though.
this
It was
is
more
going.
like a chamber
Hole in the
pot
wall.
or something, right? Like it was just
Okay.
a pot that
like
and
a
so
smaller
so
one.
basically let's just jump back. The Romans just basically made a smaller pot. And they were like, we
Yeah.
just came up with this for the kids.
Or a
it
hole
took
in the
it-
ground.
It
That's what I
took
was
us
wondering.
until 1577 to make a smaller pot.
Like,
Yes.
Man,
Okay.
that kid keeps falling in that hole over there. Let's make a smaller hole.
And then during the 1800s, the mechanical washing machine was invented. So leaves were transitioned out, and cloth and linens that people were just, you've seen that. You just wrap around the sheet around them and
Yeah, it's
bobby
like a
pin the edges
swaddling
or
or
whatever.
what-
Yeah,
Yeah.
for babies. Then let's fast forward to 1956, where a New York housewife named Marian Donovan created disposable diapers. And the idea behind this was to decrease the burden on parental time and resources needed to care for children who are not toilet trained. Help
yeah.
relax expectations on the time children need to be trained.
Okay, hold up. How did she create disposable diapers?
I was gonna say you didn't really have to discuss the reason behind it either. I think we get it. Disposable
Yeah.
shit-filled pieces of paper.
No,
thrown
so
away?
she was messing around. New York housewife, kind of probably bored at the time, wanted to create something for children. I'm sure she had a few. I didn't look into that, but she was messing with double-sided tape, like tape that will re-stick every time you put it down.
Okay, got it.
She was messing with the fibers of the inside of it, and the original creation that she made, the outside was a cut-up shower curtain. She put the cut-up shower curtain on the outside, created the
Okay.
kind of idea of it, and then she put the fibers down on the inside, the super absorbent fibers that she found, and then the re-stickable tape. And she tried a couple of different prototypes. I'm sure.
She just found some super absorbent fibers and was
Yeah.
like, here we go.
Got it.
Maybe she was in the textile industry.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then she sells the rights to her invention, the disposable diaper, in 1948. So 2 years after she created it, to Johnson & Johnson for
Wait, I thought you said it was 1956 that she created
1946.
it. Okay.
1946, and then 2 years later, 1948, she sells it to Johnson & Johnson for $1 million. $1 million in 1948. I'm sure
That's a lot of money.
You're just balling
And
out.
now
Big time.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm just glad to know the name Marianne Donovan
Mm-hmm.
because disposable diapers. I mean,
Right?
I can't
Thank you.
Yeah, like
Fucking thank
yeah,
you.
I'm sorry to the earth, but man, I can't imagine having to wash diapers on top of everything else
Yeah,
that you have to do.
Johnson & Johnson got it for a fucking steal.
Well, get this, because this goes back to our episode about vaccines. So they really didn't, like those linens they were using in the early 1900s, up until like 1926, they just washed them. And then it started in 1926, and something occurred with some kind of flu or virus or something, and people started boiling their kids'
Diapers.
Yeah, those cloth diapers that they were creating. So they're boiling that in their house every night. That's just a crazy stat. Okay, so let's go back. 1940.
That makes me want to die.
Sorry, I didn't mean want to bring that to your
Thinking
head.
about
tough.
boiling a dirty diaper in my kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck
Sorry.
all that.
From 1948 to 1961, Johnson & Johnson basically had out a disposable diaper. In 1961, Pampers were introduced, and they didn't buy it from Johnson & Johnson. It was their competitor, right? So
Gotcha.
you all hear about Pampers. I mean, that was the words when we were growing up. That was just the generic name for diaper.
Yeah, totally. It's
It's just
Pampers.
branded. Yeah, it's Pampers now.
But it's like Kleenex is for tissue or whatever.
Right,
you know,
exactly,
Just
yeah.
like the brand became what you just call everything.
yeah.
So Pampers.
Like Coke for soda.
Coke.
Like
Yeah,
Coke.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
we
It's
all call
Coke
it Coke, right?
in the South.
So in 1989, Huggies invented the first pull-up. So from 61 to 89, you did not have pull-ups. We didn't even know we needed pull-ups,
Thought it-
apparently, for, almost 20 years.
I thought you were going to say in 1989 you got out of Pampers.
No.
And into pull-ups.
And then the pull-ups. He's a big kid.
But behind every great invention like a pull-up versus a disposable diaper, it had an amazing slogan. The I'm a big kid now.
Oh, man, I vividly remember those commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of got stuck in your head. This is an interesting fact. In 1990, so 1 year after pull-ups were invented, disposable diapers now constituted 1.6% of municipal waste. In 1990, 7 in 10 Americans said that they would support banning disposable diapers.
7 in 10.
And 7 out of 10 people would have
See,
banned disposable diapers.
Who the F are those people?
People that
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's like, did they just ask like a bunch of teenagers and people that didn't have kids?
Yep, that has to be teenagers and old people
Right.
who raised
Yeah.
them off.
There,
leaves.
there you go. There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
you got to think the other companies are so big that they would have influenced away from that, or at
Well,
least.
they haven't they though? Aren't they now biodegradable? And I think they're.
I
think
mean,
they're better for
some
the-
of them are, but the biodegradable diapers kind of suck, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, I've never had those.
yeah, no, we tried them at first. They're not great. Like, I don't know. I hate to say it. Like, diapers are terrible, but shit, we use a lot of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we did too.
And I can't imagine using a cloth diaper.
And we know where we're at today. I mean, there are many types and brands and diapers. There's, the super absorbent ones. There's the being able to move around ones. There's, there.
Oh yeah.
These kids are for action.
There's
Yeah,
the aerodynamic
action
diapers.
diapers,
These have wings on the side.
Yeah, anything to make a buck, right? Nothing's really changed since 1989 when the pull-ups were invented.
No,
I
I'll
mean,
tell you what has changed. There's now the or I don't know. I don't feel like it was there back then, but the line that shows you when the diaper's wet.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Huge.
Like, we got some diapers that were, well, those biodegradable like nature diapers didn't have the line on it, and that's just like, you're sticking your finger inside the diaper to see if it's wet or what the hell.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine the other side. So that pretty much gets us through a history of diapers, because that's where we're at now. What we're trying to do is get out of diapers, get on
Yes.
that potty, and give us a fucking break.
I'm still confused about the ancient Romans in the 1500s, but we'll talk about this afterwards.
that created a toilet.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we
Um,
already established they just made a smaller pot.
Like the years messing with my head. All right, so I had a few things also that I wanted to look up, especially like age range of when potty training is
Sure.
acceptable. So I think in America the average age range is 18 months to 3 years. I did some studies that said in the 1920s and 30s they were potty training kids like under 1, like before kids could walk.
You sent me that, and I was just, I can't believe it. Like,
And some of the methods for training these kids were like they would just like it was always to induce regularity, so they would constantly take them on the same times, and if they couldn't get them to go, they would like use this soap stick to stick in the child's rectum to make them go.
what?
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
no.
there was some bad
Okay,
practices
yeah,
out
that's
there.
okay. I'm not on board with it.
I was
Right.
assuming that they were training them under the age of 1 so they could stop washing all those
Yeah,
cloths
no,
and boiling
yeah.
them in their
Well,
house.
sure. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's many reasons to train your kid to quit potty training.
I'm tired of smelling boiled shit every day.
Yeah. Guess what, Billy? You're gonna start using the man's toilet now. But I mean, you got to think. It's a different world, so they would try to induce regularity by doing all these different things, and it caused a lot of emotional problems, and there's studies and things like that. So they've thankfully gotten away from that, and diapers really helped with all this too.
Well, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute, but like that's the whole premise behind that 3-day potty training thing is just like really. I mean, obviously that's for a kid that's a little bit older, but that's the whole thing is just like like a regiment that you just keep doing
Right.
like over and over again until like
Intense.
they understand it.
Yeah.
And I want to get into the 3-day potty training thing.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
we will. So also, but in that 18 to 3 months, which is common here, or 3 years, I mean, it's really all about the child's readiness. You can't really force them to start doing it because you can cause some negative emotions or negative reactions out of forcing a kid to try to potty. So
Right.
there's been some studies there, which I'll touch on that in a minute also. Gender-wise, the opinion is that girls are easier to potty train and they do it earlier than boys. However, it's just an opinion. It's not proven.
Sure. There's no statistics on that.
Yeah, there's not hard studies on it. It's just an opinion.
That is interesting because I feel like most of my friends that I know that have kids that have girls and boys, they always say the girl was
Lean
easier
that way.
to potty train.
So there should probably be a study, and it might be because they sit down, but they say you're supposed to train boys to sit down first anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Also, worldwide, there has been a study that says the further away from the equator, the slower it takes children to acclimate to potty training.
What?
Yep, and I don't know why. They don't know why. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Beats the hell out of me what it's about, but I did learn that. Now I've got some worldwide trends in potty training. Do you guys want those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're recording a podcast
In
about potty
Kenya,
training.
I wonder if I'd throw something over there. In Kenya, what they do is and it's typically the mother when they go to the bathroom, they think they know when the kid wants to go, so they're always paying attention when the kid needs to kind of go. So they take the kid and the kid sits on their lap, and if they have to pee, they face forward. If they have to shit, they face the parent,
No.
and the legs kind of simulate the toilet.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No.
In Vietnam, here's my favorite one. Second favorite one. In Vietnam, so what they do is they notice when the kid starts going to the bathroom, right?
Sure.
So when they pee, they start whistling. So right off the bat, when they notice
Wait a
the
minute.
kid
As
pissing,
a parent, you whistle at the
Yep.
kid?
so you start whistling at the kid, right? The kid, it's like Pavlov's dog. The kid starts associating whistling with urinating. Then when the child's ready to start potty training, they put the child on the potty and they start whistling. Not the children, the parent.
Man, you got to be whistling for a long time, though.
They
Yeah.
they do that Andy Griffith song, and that kid just starts fucking pissing, dude.
Oh my god. So then, like, if you heard the Andy Griffith song, you would just be triggered.
You would
and
just be-
start peeing yourself.
That's right, which makes really awkward situations in adulthood.
Yeah. Right.
Like if you're at a party or something.
I don't think that song's going to come on at a party.
Andy Griffith.
That sounds like a challenge.
All right. In Australia, they put the kid on the sink and just use the garbage disposal.
At this point, you're making all this up.
No, they don't call it a garbage disposal. They call it a rubbish a rubbish grinder. I'm sorry. All right, 2 more. These are real. The rubbish grinder was fake. Iran apparently has a really intensive one, which reminds me of the 3-day one. Like, they just pound it into the fucking kid. Like, it's every 2 hours they're taking that kid in the bathroom to make him shit or piss.
Right.
In China, this one's very interesting. In China, kids walk around with a split crotch pants. They're diaper free, and they just squat and go. And that is
Anywhere?
true. My wife has seen it. Like, kids walk around with crotchless pants. No, I don't think they go anywhere, but they go. It just makes it real easy. They don't have to pull anything down. They just squat, go, done.
Like in the
But
toilet.
where?
And yeah, I'm not sure if toilets are exactly what they go into. I think
Which
they
part of
have
China
holes.
are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's different parts, and it is in areas of China. It's not
Okay.
all of China. It is in areas of China. But my wife has seen it. She's been over there and says, "Yeah, that's the way it is." That's pretty much all I got. There's some other boring stuff that I just didn't have, or I didn't make up anything else.
Those were some very fun statistics on potty training around the world
Yeah, you're
with
welcome.
Old Boy.
Yep.
So, I mean, ultimately, what motivates you as a parent to get the training done? You know, like,
Is that a question?
It is. It's a question.
I got a real good answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have several answers.
Then what are your answers? I've got a few here.
My motivation for training my child to use the commode is so that I don't have to wipe a butt anymore.
Okay.
I do not. I am so low when I have to wipe somebody's butt.
Gotcha.
For me, it's like I don't even know if it's the actual wiping the butt as much as it is just poop. I can't deal with poop. Like, poop is...
Yeah, it's degrading enough.
It's like I want to fucking throw up when I have to change a diaper like every single time. Like,
Yeah.
And the older the kid
Still?
gets... Yeah, because it gets worse, man. Initially, it's like kind of just like liquidy and you wipe it off. And then the kid gets older and they're taking like a full-on human dump. Like, we had
Yeah.
some baked fish for dinner the other night. I had to change my kid's diaper the next morning. That was fucking not pleasant.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
just kinda gotten-
trying to not deal with that anymore. So that's my main motivation. And we're even
Second.
to the point like we're trying to like really teach Barrett to be like, as soon as he poops, be like, hey, I pooped.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to get him to tell us. And he's getting better about it, you know, which I read was one of, like, you know, the kind of precursors
step.
to, like, getting your kid ready to use
Yeah.
to be potty trained. So we're working on that. But that small breakthrough was huge for me because it was just like, God, thank God now I don't have to, like, change this diaper that's been on your ass for 30 minutes and poop is
Yeah.
everywhere and I want to throw up the whole time I'm trying to change it.
Stuck to your butt.
See, I feel like
Sorry.
I've gotten used to it. It doesn't.
power to you,
It doesn't
man.
bother me like it sounds like it bothers you. What I was talking about, I mean, and those are great, you know, answers or whatever. It's, you know, you don't want to wipe a butt. You don't want to deal with poop anymore. Some
Yes.
people don't want to spend money on diapers because that shit's expensive.
There's
And,
that too. Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. When you get, you know, that money back, it's like kind of after formula. After they're done drinking formula, if your kids had formula, that was expensive.
$25 a pop.
Yeah, and
See,
it was all the time.
Yeah, you think that, but then when they're eating regular food and then not eating the food that you're
Not
preparing,
eating-
that adds up a lot more. But
That-
that's another episode that we've talked about before.
Absolutely. Another one, I don't know, training or discipline, like teaching them to be disciplined. And you kind of touched on that. Is right now Levon is currently in that phase of we tried and we gave it the good college try in regards to potty training him, take him in there, and then he regressed, and then now we've gotten through the pack that you said you're training Barrett how to tell you when he's pooped, and we were trying to get Levon to do that for the longest time. Now it's gotten to the point where he's so uncomfortable standing in his own shit that he tells us that he pooped, and I think it took that.
Yeah.
It didn't take training. Like
Yeah.
it was just wait and see.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
and every kid is different. I mean, obviously I can't say because Barrett's not potty trained, but from what I've been reading, like every kid is obviously different, and some kids that's the thing that drives them, and other kids like
Yeah.
that still doesn't bother them, and they're still down for playing around with shit in their diaper.
Absolutely. And it says, like we talked about, the kind of the history of this and the timeline of this is up until the 1950s, people were trying to get that kid, trained with various methods,
Sure, yeah.
as you mentioned, before the age of 1. And then since the invention of the diaper, and that like really skyrocketed it to now, the expectation is they begin at 18 months, and this could take up to 3 years. And I'm fearful as a parent and being embarrassed. I don't know if this is embarrassment or what, is the fact that I'm 2 months out from Levon's 3rd birthday, and I do not see him being done with this until that point. So I guess there's acceptance of you can go past this. I mean, it says it's unhealthy to go past 4. But we're going to talk about some methods here in a minute that are going to help you on your road to potty training out there, because we want you to feel comfortable too.
Yeah.
We often joke on this podcast, but some of this stuff is like serious retrospective parenting, like looking at yourself. I don't think that's the right word.
It's reflective parenting.
Reflective. That absolutely.
No, and I don't feel like you should stress about it too much, because another thing I was reading about is like every kid is, like you said, some kids it takes up to 4. Every kid is different, and it's like once it snaps into place, it's going to snap into place, and he'll probably just be like,
Yeah.
let's do it.
All
It's
of-
toilet time.
Yeah. You don't see,
But there's
adults walking around in diapers.
it's
gonna
happen.
there's some videos.
Yeah, it's a fetish, but
You
Oh,
can
is
find
it?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm sorry I asked. Real quick, I grew up with a kid that wore diapers till he was 5. So I mean, it's not,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Well, I didn't. To me, that's a little. That's when you're out of kindergarten.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not a great thing, but I mean I guess the point is.
Are you
that
trying
we
to make
said-
me? You're trying to make me feel good.
I'm
at
just
this
saying,
point.
yeah, there's different paces, man, and he'll get there, and there's nothing to.
Because from what I understand, and I am dead in the middle of this struggle, and it's, do you want to go to the potty? No. Do you, we started off with the stickers, and then, we were like, oh, yay, and celebrating at that. And I call old boy here, I don't know, today or yesterday, I cannot remember.
It's
All the
today.
days today.
It's
Everything's
today.
running together at this point. And we were talking about potty training our children, and he basically tells me that his is done in a week, but he really had no hand in it. Is that
No,
true?
you have to reinforce it at home too. But what had happened was the daycare we were going to, Sam had a good daycare. They told us from the get-go, they're like, when she turns the age of 2, if you're still here, she begins potty training the day she turns 2, and diapers are gone. So we're like, okay, sure. Well, they've got a little toilet in the daycare, and other kids are going through the same process. So, dude, she was potty trained in a week, and that was that.
In a week.
I know-
1 week.
I feel like that is not the average person.
No,
Well,
yeah.
sure.
That must be the most expensive daycare of all time. I mean,
No,
let's
we
be
took
honest.
her.
here.
We took her there.
Can I
because
get the number
it
to
was-
that daycare?
it
Because
was-
if they're going to potty train my kid in a week, I would pay them a week's worth of daycare.
I've heard of it. It's called Flushing Meadows Daycare, right?
Is that what it is?
Yep.
But I'm sitting
All right.
here, at
Struggling.
least 2 months in, and you're telling me that your
Now.
daughter was done in a week.
Kid
now
terrific.
kid terrific, because your life is so easy
Oh,
in
yes.
parenting. She is the perfect child. You've never had to
job.
spank her. She potty trained in a week. She's just
She's great.
golden.
She's
right?
great.
So
How's she on those dishes?
yeah,
Well,
that's true.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I think that's her being smart. I think she's just foregoing the allowance money. I can imagine if it hadn't been for the daycare and I was in this quarantine episode where I'm at home with her the whole time at that age trying to get her to potty train, it'd have probably taken like 3 days.
you're talking about people that are trained to be around kids all day long.
Right.
They do this all the time. Like they
Well-oiled
know-
machine.
Yeah, exactly. They know the signs. They know how to guide them. So I mean, yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it is different because at that age group in that daycare, what they did is they had that was just a certain age group from 1 to 2. So they're constantly potty training, or I guess I don't know what their age range was, but they're constantly potty training kids at that age. So
Sure.
it's just get them in, get them out, and then she's seeing other kids do it, so she knows it's normal. It was like, man, yeah, can I go next? I remember coming to daycare once. She's like, hey, I want to show you. Like my kid was like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to the potty, and like she was proud of it. And I was like, that's great.
That's awesome.
And they are proud of it. I mean, they're tips that you can follow, and I know we want to get into that. There are tips that you can follow, including rewarding. And Levon, he has been excited to use the potty. He has called us from my mom's house and said, hey, I used the potty. Like he's been excited. It's just it's not as cut and dry as a lot of people think. So if you are struggling with it out there, don't be discouraged. As 3 dads here, one that's about to enter this, one is in the dead middle hell of it, and one that obviously just, flew by and didn't even, he wasn't involved. He paid somebody to potty train his kid. I mean, let's be honest. He paid somebody.
A fat one.
No, I'm just kidding. What we want to do as Raising Nashville is kind of, talk about some tips.
So real quick, let me ask you guys, since I'm getting ready to get into it, we haven't really talked about it yet. Should I try this 3-day potty training thing? We've got some time. My kid is 18 months old.
During the coronavirus would be the best opportunity to try this. Now,
let's talk about this method.
I'm against this method. It takes away every freedom a parent has, and I understand that you're gaining a long-term reward type of reward here, right? The kid's potty trained,
right?
But
I mean, think about the struggles that you were just talking about. What you had, if you could switch around those,
sure.
If you could trade those struggles for
3
the
days,
3 days,
okay,
would you have done it?
Or 3 days? Those
3 days.
Have you ever been to jail?
Those 3 days are when the Titans were in the playoffs.
Yeah. So to say, have you ever been to jail for 3 days? It is a very long time in your head.
Especially the way you're supposed to do this. I mean,
sure. So Juicebox is obviously asking us, if you have not heard of this out there, this is the 3-day method to potty training. And there are a couple of different variations of this method, but obviously they're all about the same. And the way that this method works, the way that you can potty train your kid in 3 days, which I don't believe is true, is one of the rules is, and I'm sure you guys have looked this up, since the child wakes up to when the child goes to bed, every 15 minutes you have to grab their hand and walk them to the potty. Now, here's a method number 1 debunked. Kids don't always do, especially at this potty training age, what you want them to do. You
at any age.
You're okay at any age. So you're telling me that I can't get my kid to go upstairs and eat dinner at a certain time. He has to wait an hour, or he has to, do it on his own terms. To go to the bathroom every 15 minutes for like 10 hours.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's almost like a boot camp. It's a boot camp for your kids.
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
what it sounds like.
How like boot camp, they're just drilling something into you and to kind of like break your spirit and then build you back up. That's literally what I feel like this is. This is a sort of boot camp for a kid where you're just like breaking them down, and it's like you're both miserable, but you have to get through this.
Live
and
3
then
days.
by the 3rd day, you both like, or he's like, or they're finally
passing roles
understanding
between each other, just high-fiving.
Yeah.
No. I see it as, if you're talking about boot camp, this is where they get their disdain for from their parents for the first time.
But then, I don't know, man. I mean, aside from Full Metal Jacket, a lot of people that go through boot camp end up respecting their drill sergeant at the very end.
Question.
That's true.
Question on this. The every 15-minute method, are you giving them a laxative?
You are not giving them a laxative. Here is method number 2 on the 3-day potty training. For 100 plus times a day, you have to ask your child, do you have to use the potty?
Yeah.
Like it says 100 plus, or this method won't work. So you have to say this 100 times a day.
I mean, it all makes sense. It's literally just like teaching your kid anything at this point. Like, it's all just repetition, and then it's like ingrained into them. I mean, this is just an extreme version of that, you know? I
Sure.
feel like you could probably teach your kid the alphabet in 3 days when they were this, you know, if you were just like.
Do you have
beating
that
them.
much time to spend, though? Do you have 3
Well, I
days,
mean, most-
wake up to sleep with your kid on this one simple task? And
Well, no, generally no. But I mean, right now, maybe.
Right
because
now,
they
yeah.
said pre-cooked meals, have somebody there that can heat things up because they don't want you away from your child for more than a minute other than the nap. And because you always have to be watching them, you have to watch their actions, you have to watch
And
what
they're
they're
not
going
in
to potty.
diapers, right? They're like just in
That's step
underwear
number
at this
4.
point?
You start with, it said, I read 200 pairs of underwear, kind of like diapers, because every time
Okay, so was
there's
this hold on. Was this whole method just come up by the with the
the underwear
come up by the
companies-
underwear company? Is this a
I have no
conspiracy that we
idea.
need to look into? On our
It
next
says you need a lot of pairs of underwear, right? And you start off, and there's sections throughout the day where you just remove it, and they go bare ass. And it says, remove all carpeting and rugs from your house. Make sure that you're on cleanable floors. And right then, I was like,
On cleanable floors.
no,
I mean, yeah. What
Oh.
what
whose house
floors
is
aren't
this?
cleanable?
Well, I mean, like
Carpet.
we can just literally let our kid play like in our hallway
Yep.
and the bathroom.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's basically you're an arm length away from the bathroom all day, too, for
Oh,
those
man.
3 days.
I was kind of hoping you had that no button again. Because I wanted to be like, do you need to use the bathroom? No. Just
Yeah.
constantly, just back and forth.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds like torture.
Yeah.
For 3 days, and it says if the best part of the article was like if you aren't available to take a day off work and combine it with a weekend or use a holiday weekend to do this, and I'm just like, man, she didn't know this virus was coming because there is so
Yeah.
much time to do this right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bored people out there and a lot of people with kids, but instead of worrying, maybe you can turn this into something positive and take the 3-day potty training method. Here's what I do know. You can never get those 3 days back if this didn't work.
Yeah, but you've wasted 3 days doing other shit.
Yeah,
That's
no doubt.
true.
All right, so I've got a couple of other things. I found this little thing from Eric Erickson, who is he's a psychiatrist, and I know I studied him back in like basic psychiatry. And he had this thing called the psychosocial theory of development, and especially when it comes into potty training, there's a couple of tips he gives, and one, let the child express readiness. Let them come to it instead of you trying to force it upon the kid.
Sure.
And a lot of this is going to kind of be redundant. We don't really have to dive into it, but it makes sense. Allow them ample time in the toilet. Let them take their time. Don't try to, force it out of them. Instead of expressing relief, express like joy, like positive affirmation. Like, hey, great.
Yeah.
Who is expressing relief?
Like,
Yeah.
whew.
Thank
Yeah,
God
right.
you went to
Man,
the
you-
potty.
After that ample
That
time
was
I
a
allowed you in
close
there.
call.
You've been in there for 30 minutes. Don't say negative statements, so apply positives. Avoid shaming the child, which kind of goes into that too. But
That's
and then
hard.
Avoid scolding the child for incidents. So if they have an accident or something like that, you don't scold them, which
That's not hard. That should never happen.
Right.
should never happen. But it's in here for a reason.
I'm for spanking, and I'm 100% that should never happen.
Right.
Like,
I agree. I mean, the accidents happen, man. So
Right.
anyway, so unsuccessful potty training can have some negative connotations with it. So the child, it can cause low self-esteem. They can grow up overly dependent. They can have self-doubt in various tasks that they perform. Grow up with insecurities and could criticize their own abilities.
You wanna hear some-
That's really heavy, right? That's
It
really
is.
heavy.
Like we're walking a fine line here. with,
Right,
like-
and so I read that and I was like, oh my god, dude! Like we really did get off easy if all that's true. I feel like that's like a lot of a head game, and I don't think there's that much pressure. I think ultimately you just gotta let the kid kind of come to it. He or she is going to get through it. It just takes patience.
That, yeah, I agree with that.
and just know that they're going to have accidents after they're potty trained.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's going to happen. Now, again, not knowing how long that's going to happen is one thing.
Yeah.
I remember, and I can tell a brief story about this real quick, is when I was younger, and I cannot for the life of me remember the age, but I would say 6, maybe 7 years old or whatever. Sometimes I would have accidents, and I would be at my dad's house, and he lived in Kentucky, where I'm not from. And I would go visit him, and when I had an accident, my stepmom, keep in mind, this is my stepmom,
Right.
would make me wash that shit in the sink by hand.
What?
Thinking that she was like teaching me a lesson, I guess. And
That
I don't
you
know if
fell
my
that you
dad
peed
never.
in your sleep?
No, not peed.
Just an accident.
Yeah, having an accident. Not. I would never piss my pants. I never like peed in the bed when I was a kid. That just didn't happen. Sometimes,
Right. That's
What's the
sometimes I
accident
would
then?
shit. I'd be running around and it would just accidentally come out. You can't hold it or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah,
So when you
it's- yeah,
shit
it
yourself,
happens. It's
she
all
would
right.
make me take them off and wash them in by hand myself in the sink.
No kidding.
And that is some psychological shit. I
Yeah,
mean, I hate to
no
use
doubt.
that pun, but I mean, making me do that now, I don't know, forever. It's making me like, if I have to take a shit, I'm going to hold it until, my stomach, implodes. Because I don't want to do that or think about that again. So
Dude,
be
that's
easy
not-
on your
yeah,
kids.
That's
I
bad.
mean,
That's
Easy,
bad
yeah.
for your system.
yeah,
man.
it's
Yeah.
very bad for your system. So
Damn.
I don't know for the life of me why I brought this up, but
because it just like displayed
Well,
everything that we were talking.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
just
very
be-
relevant.
Be easy on them because this is something that we all have to get through together, parents
Yeah.
and kids.
How old
Damn.
is she?
How old is she now? I don't know, 75.
I was just wondering if like she came from that era that had to wash her own.
She
I'm
probably
sure.
had
I'm
to
sure.
have. I
So,
mean,
you know
that's
what I
what
mean?
parents just pass it down. That's
Yeah.
what she
Sure,
knew
sure.
to do.
I'm
She
just.
didn't just come
I'm
up
not
with that.
defending her. I'm not defending her at all.
I wonder if my dad and her ever had a conversation about it. I wonder if that's just where they're from. I don't know.
I don't know. I
but
don't agree
For
with
me,
it, but I
it's
don't
kind
know.
of like embarrassing. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with
But so successful potty training.
Is easy or tough?
I'm gonna give you this daycare number.
I mean, we're not here. We're three dads. We're giving you our perspective from it. We're not, here to tell you exactly how it's going to work. All kids are different. All things are going to have it differently. You can either have a 3-day potty training, boot camp. You can have a 5-day perfect child.
Yeah.
You can have, a boy who is just crazy and just doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to go, with the status quo of the rest of the kids in his class. Or you can be expecting this right now. You can be anticipating it. You could have just had a child and you're like, man, potty training is that next big step. But
Yeah.
right now is the time. If you are thinking about it, you have a child in that age range, why not try it now? I've done so
Yeah.
much research over the last couple of days that I'm ready to try different methods because the ones we originally didn't work. And like you guys said, I'm not motivated so much as I don't want to wipe an ass for the rest of my life anymore starting right now. I'm fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I just want him to kind of be a little bit more excited about putting on his own clothes and like getting to that point.
And
Like,
just more independent, like in
Yeah.
general, like that's
True.
you know,
Autonomous.
I need
I'm
to
not
use
the-
the potty. I need to go and do it, and then I'm back to playing. you
yeah,
know? I
I'm
don't
not
need
the
my-
parent that doesn't want him to not grow up like some parents are out there. They're like, oh, I want him to be my baby forever. No, I want you to get old so
But
you can
who-
talk to me like this.
Okay, when people say that, are they talking about changing diapers?
But just know, again, out there, it's not easy. We're here for you. If you have any questions, we'll answer them. We might not
And-
be the best idea.
I'm
Yeah.
about to be in it in real time, so I feel like I'll do an update in a few months or something and
Yeah.
let you know how it's going.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed another brought to you by coronavirus interesting podcast here from Raising Nashville. We enjoyed being able to talk a little bit about our experiences on potty training. As always, wherever you are, please take 30 seconds to go on any of the platforms that you're using to listen to us right now, whether it be Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and just like us, rate us, leave a comment there, tell your friends, tell your family. We're here every week.
Tell your family.
Tell your family.
Tell your family.
Tell your mother, your father.
Yeah.
We hope you guys enjoyed listening. If you don't have children,
Have one.
have one.
Catch up.
Yeah, we want you to know what we go through.
Yeah. The fear.
Do the potty dance. Do the potty dance. Right side cross, left side cross. Step, step, toes, waist, celebrate. Right side cross, left side cross. Step, step, toes, waist, celebrate. Do the potty dance. I'm a big kid now, I do big kid stuff. I talk on my phone, I drive my car. Watch me play guitar. Do the potty dance. Right side cross, left side cross. Step